I've had it with people saying, "Where are the dogs?" Zane. So here they are. That was an everyday thing for the longest time. If Diana would ever go to work, we could have it every day. Well, all she wants to do is sit there, bone, drink claws, sit by the pool. My God. Okay. It's going to be one of those shows. I can feel it. I don't even know what that means. The live stream of the Eric Zane Show podcast brought to you by several key sponsors. A&E Heating and Cooling. First off, Senor Martinez, tu madre es una puta, is inviting you in. I can never get that right. 616-516-8579. We got hot temperatures in Michigan right now. If you are in West Michigan and you need any heating and cooling work, please call upon my sponsors. They are absolutely the best, and A&E Heating and Cooling. Been around for quite some time now, 616-516-8579. You can get that air conditioner tuned up, normally $89. For Zane Show podcast listeners, it's $79. All right? That is a key thing that you need to have done once a year, and Joe Martinez is the guy that I want you to call upon to have it done. The furnace taken care of in the colder months, tuned up, same thing with the air conditioner right about now. If you're looking to install either a redo or a first-time job, whatever it may be, a new furnace, a new air conditioner, you need to know that Joe utilizes an amazing company that makes these great products, the Comfort Maker air conditioners and heaters. Okay? Comfort with confidence with the Comfort Maker. Okay, good news. I've been talking about this for some time. You know, one of the great things about the podcast is the really tight community that we have between the audience and the sponsors. You all know very well that it is quite simple. It's me, you, and the sponsors. And if any of those things falters, we're screwed. And Blue Frost IT is back. They have re-signed, and what we just agreed to is a 1-year term. A lot of my sponsors who have been with me for some time have that option now after extended amount of time working together, and so they signed up for 1 year. So I'm really stoked about that. That puts in place a lot of key things to keep the show going in its current form, because as you know, this is my job, doing the podcast daily and then selling the shit out of it so that I can keep the lights on, keep the family life the way it's supposed to be, and that's it, man. Sell it, podcast. Sell it, podcast. That's it. So because of Blue Frost IT's commitment to the show, that will continue. What they are is a managed IT service provider. So if you have a small or a medium-sized business that needs IT specialty work taken care of, this is who you call. Let's say you're moving your location. You want to do an entirely different infrastructure for your business when it comes to your IT. You got to call on Blue Frost IT. That's it. 616-200-8550. If you're an existing business that just wants that tech support, you can't afford an on-site or a staffed position, well, this is how you do it. Blue Frost IT, 616-200-8550. Online at bluefrostit.com. Bruce, where are you? Yeah, hey, buddy, why don't you go up here so I can keep an eye on you? If I can keep an eye on you, there's less chance that I'm gonna stress that you're taking a dump. So go on up there. Go on. Hang on, folks. There you go. Yeah, okay. Stay up here. Everyone wants to see your beautiful face. What a handsome devil. Look at O'Neill is sleeping nicely. Okay. You want to get a little closer, maybe? Okay. There you go. Another brother's birthday today. My brother Paul turns 60? Oh, my God. I think he is 60 years old. Oh, my God. Oh, whoever said 60's the new 40 is crazy. Totally kidding. Happy birthday to Paul. This is the Eric Zane Show Podcast for Wednesday, the 10th of June. Here we go.
And now, here's a guy who has never won a congeniality award at any radio station anywhere.
I will fight you in the street.
It's the Eric Zane Show Podcast with your host, Eric Zane.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show Podcast. This is a daily rant, expletive-filled podcast covering news, nonsense, and my personal adventure. If you're new to this, been going on since January of 2019. Former radio guy. That career went south, nosedived into the ground, and all I did was started podcasting. Based on the strength of the audience, I've been able to somehow carve out my own little place. Spent a little time yesterday talking with a friend of mine by the name of Brian Kelly, who is another podcaster. I'll talk a little bit about that coming up. Not a whole lot to talk about. It just that I was on another podcast that you'll be able to listen to in a couple of weeks once it drops, as they say. But a ton of things to get into today on the show. First of all, I have a giveaway. I have a something to give away that doesn't matter where you listen. You can utilize this giveaway. So if you're in Anchorage, Alaska, if you're in Tallahassee, Florida, this is a something that you will love. I'll talk about that in just a second. And there isn't a person listening who wouldn't want this. Let me just tell you that. This is easily one thing that everyone can agree on in these troubled times. That's really become a crutch these days. In these troubled times, in these uncertain times. It's not uncertain. It's certain as hell. It's certain that there's a dumb illness going around that everybody's freaked out about. It's certain that some dumbass cop did something stupid. And it's certain that the world is changing. The world is truly changing. And despite the horrible nature of that guy's death and everything surrounding it, I think this is definitely changing. Dear Meathead happens in 44 minutes with my beloved father, brought to you by JM Synthetics, selling online AMSOIL products, the inventor of synthetic motor oil. If you have a question for Dad on Dear Meathead, please send it along. Subject line, Dear Meathead or Meathead, anything Meathead related. I got a few from past episodes, but if you think I've missed it, if it's been like extended time that I haven't talked about it, you might want to resend it. I know I say that from time to time, but it sometimes it's tricky keeping track of everything. So sometimes I rely on you. You're like, oh, screw him, man, he never reads it. Well, sometimes they just kind of fall through the cracks. So, Dear Meathead, in moments, brought to you by JM Synthetics. Mike the Cop. I'm going to introduce you to Mike the Cop. Mike the Cop is going to join me, actually, before Dear Meathead. And Mike the Cop is a listener of the show, and that's what Mike does for a living. He's a cop. Somewhere in the listening audience. If he chooses to make it a little bit, I'm being very vague with it. And you have no idea where this person works or anything like that. And truth be told, Mike is not this cop's real name. But one thing that is real about Mike the Cop is Mike's a cop. And I talked to Mike the Cop on the phone yesterday after an email exchange when he said, I want on the show. I need to talk to you. I need to talk to the audience. I need to clear up some things. I go, well, thank God. I am so happy that you reached out to me. And he has told me himself that he has screamed at his listening device, whatever it may be, whether in the car or listening while he's, in his house with earbuds to the podcast about things that have come out of my mouth concerning scenarios on this show. So I want to discuss that. I want to find out, well, what's the big problem? And we're not going to delve into Chauvin. I mean, Chauvin is Chauvin and Floyd. That incident won't be discussed because it pretty much is what it is. White cop killed black guy. But there's a lot of things that have gone on that have continued the conversation about cops, cop reform. Buffalo is an incident that Mike the cop wants to discuss with me about the old guy getting pushed over. That will happen at 8:40, and I got to stay on time. And I don't know how I'm going to because I started late today. My apologies. Sorry. Before I go down that road, I just realized I had something. If you have a question for Mike the cop, because I'm probably going to miss everything, something that's been burning on your brain for Mike the cop, similar to Dear Meathead, send me an email, eric@ericzaneshow.com, subject line, Mike the cop. Mr. CrossFit is in a little deeper caca today. I covered it yesterday about how the cancel culture was making him get in deep trouble, but I guess they were onto something because it does appear like he's kind of a dick. Also, CBS News has learned that former cop and George Floyd killer Derek Chauvin knew George Floyd. I did not know this. Did you know this? They worked together. Raise your hand if you knew that. Am I the last guy to know that? I don't think so, because the way they describe it on the CBS News story was all like, what? They knew each other. They worked in the same place. They worked at a nightclub together. That's remarkable. Apparently they worked together and they did not get along. All right. The next sentence I know has a tendency to rankle the sensitive ears. But you got to understand, this is dumb. I'd love to put out a poll about this if I can remember on Twitter. Despite the fact that I've told you that I'm going to vote for Trump, and I've got a litany of reasons why that I've discussed before, that whatever, I don't want to get into it again. Truth be told, I don't like discussing that thing with you because I'm afraid of, well, no, I'm not. I mean, if I say what I will and just let the chips fall. I guess my point is, I don't indict anybody on who they vote for. I don't have a problem with who anybody votes for. No one in this house is going to vote for Trump, as far as I know. At least I don't think so, except me. And but as you know, I lay waste to Trump when he gets in the weeds. It's just such bullshit. There are only a few. If a few dominoes fell in my world, I wouldn't vote for him. I wouldn't vote for him. He seems to me to be an awful person. And though I am voting for him, my God, does he fucking piss me off. It's like a hate vote is what it is. This latest one really pisses me off. His stupidity knows no bounds with another bullshit tweet about the old man hurt in Buffalo. I don't believe a bit of it. It's a fucking conspiracy theory by a whacked-out maniac, not that different than Alex Jones. Fucking Trump has glommed onto some bullshit theory and tweeted it about the old man who took a tumble in Buffalo because the cop pushed him. Fuck. And NASCAR driver Bubba Watson is in the news, both for passing out over the weekend, which produced an incredible moment on TV. Did you see this? He passed out on TV while being interviewed. And I was going to play it yesterday on the Patreon, but for some reason it slipped my mind. And so he's in the news for that. And for what he's doing now concerning recent events, one of which I know is going to infuriate a Zane Show podcast listener. Okay? But right now I've got an update for you. It wasn't long ago that it was last week during the Patreon, we found out that Zaniac Kenny, who's got a master's degree in heartache in the last year in beautiful Tennessee, said, hey, I found a dog that I love, and I'm going to adopt it. And we're like, what? Oh, my God. We actually had a conversation with him on the Patreon, and he's like, this is so great. He's a senior dog. He's 8. He's like a lab mix, and he's just adorable. His name is Brownie, brown dog, little gray whiskers on him, man. He's got that beautiful lab face. He had a look on his face that, can someone please take me home? I'm the old man at the shelter, and I just want to go to somebody's house, please. And they describe him as he wants to be alone. He doesn't want other pets in his house. All he wants, it said in the description, all he wants is a local hillbilly, recently divorced, who just wants to cuddle me. And then Kenny goes, well, that's me. So he reached out to this place about 4 hours away from where he lives, and he goes, hey, man, hey, yeah, I want a dog. And they go, all right, yeah, man, you can take this dog. This is crazy. He's been here a year. He's so lonely. All he wants is you. All right, so great. So Kenny goes, and right away he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to Amazon. Yeah, get myself a dog crate. I got my dog bed, got my dog toys, got my treats, got my dog food. Oh, yeah, all right. And puts it in his cart, buys it, whatever. And then he's like, he joins me on the podcast. He's over the moon. He's so happy. Yeah. And then somehow he realized that there is a protocol where he lives. Long story short, the environment where he lives is it doesn't provide as many. It's kind of they're kind of strict. There's a landlord, and it's run by like a business entity. It isn't like a single guy. So they've got rules in place. So they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're gonna need to make a pet deposit. And he goes, yeah, man, I got it. I've been saving up my money, yeah, yeah. And so did all that, and they go, okay, yeah. And then of course, how much does the dog weigh? Now, if I was Kenny, I would have lied, but he said, well, yeah, man, your dog's about 50 pounds. I go, well, you can't have the dog. It's a 35-pound dog limit. You can't have the dog. So dude was crushed. So upset. Oh, my God, terrible, sad. He's crying. It's terrible. It was so bad. It's all happened. It was crazy because we had him on the Patreon, and then like 3 hours later, he tweets that his heart is broken. I'm like, oh, man, this is awful. So Kenny felt bad that he couldn't get the dog, and he felt bad for the dog and so this dog stayed there for 1 year. Now, I don't know. I have no idea why it happened, if it was just timing or if it was anything that he did or what, but he started this campaign about, hey, everybody, I can't have this dog, but would you want this dog? And I even shared it on Facebook, and this shelter in Unicoi County, Tennessee, was even willing to drive the dog to wherever it took to get this dog a home. That's what happened with Benny, the one-eyed wonder dog, when we got him from Texas. Well, and then the damnedest thing happened. People started to ask about Brownie. And then Kenny revealed to me, and I think he shared it online, that somebody wanted to meet the dog to possibly adopt him. And then it worked. Holy shit, Brownie has found a home, so hip, hip, hooray. Brownie is off to his new location after 1 year of being having to live in that environment where, the shelter is, they take care of him. But he wants to, let me look at these two over my shoulder here. This is what Brownie wants to do. Crash on the couch and just, have this type of life where there's somebody constant, all the activity of a normal household. So if you're thinking about a pet for the house, I encourage you to call upon your local animal shelter, okay? The one I deal with directly in my beautiful county of Ottawa County, Michigan, is Harbor Humane. They're like the ones. HarborHumane.org. They've got a terrific fundraiser that they just started, which helps them keep the lights on, or if you want to adopt a dog. So there you go. Was anybody confused about Father's Day, about when it is? I may have said it on this show that Father's Day is this weekend. It's not. And, hey, I'm just going with the information that I was given because Diana, I said to her, hey, I want to go back up north so I can continue painting. No, you dumb bastard. You're going to stay here. And it's Father's Day, and you got to do me, and You got to do me, and we got to celebrate Father's Day. Now get to it. Get to pounding. Make that thing look like a steak-um. So I can't even keep a straight face with that. So I was like, all right, well, if you say so, I'll do what you tell me, and I'll stay home. And then the discussion around the house yesterday was, Father's Day's not this weekend. It's the weekend after. I was like, oh. I go, well, then I'm going up north. No, you're not. No, you're not. You stay here. So Father's Day is not this weekend, but next weekend. I bring that up because I was like, well, come on, get on it on the cameos. You guys are going to wait to the last minute, aren't you? Hire me for Cameo, all right? Cameo.com/Eric Zane. The most fun is when I'm hired to do one who no one has any, if it's your dad, your 80-year-old dad who has no idea who I am. Trust me, I'll charm the hell out of your dad. It's a happy Father's Day wish from me, Eric Zane. If everybody within the sound of my voice hired me for Cameo for Father's Day, oh my God, I'd just be in this room the whole day recording these damn things. It would be just outrageously fun. It's going to set you back about $16. Now, I priced it at $15, which is like near the lowest you can go for Cameo. You see like Mike Tyson, it's like $1,000 for one of these, man. All those big hitters, that'll never be me. But still, I love doing cameos, and I can, I'm telling you, this will be a thing that they will never forget. It's so much better than a card, or it's not better than a gift card. So get Dad the gift card to wherever, like Baldwin Ace Hardware. But make me do this, too, because I will make it worth your while. He will love it. Cameo.com/Eric Zane on your desktop, or download the Cameo app. Okay? The open of the Eric Zane Show podcast is brought to you this time around by Terrytown RV. Zaniac Jonathan just reached out to me via email, and he said, Zane, we're looking to trade in our camper. Can you point me in the right direction at Terrytown RV? And I'm like, hell yeah. It's on the phone that I'm looking at. I hit the forward button, the arrow going that way, and then I add the one and only Matt Walker to the email exchange. And I said, absolutely, Jonathan. Matt here is going to help you. He's running the show at Terrytown RV. 10 minutes later, the boss man has replied to both of us and says, come on in and ask for me, and that's it. This is a terrifically run local business with great employees, great staff, top to bottom, and just all of the wonderful experiences that people share when they get out on the open road in their RVing adventure. I'm telling you, you're going to love this. I'm still waiting for the one person, and maybe it's Jonathan who emailed me, who said, Zane, meet me there. I want to meet you, and I want you to show me around this travel trailer that I will give you a tour of the travel trailer. I know all these products inside and out. I know everything there is to know about RVing. I would sell the shit out of any RV. If I wasn't having so much fun on this podcast doing what I'm doing now, I would be doing that, and I'd murder it. I'd probably make twice the money. I'd be so damn good at it. TerrytownRV.com on Division between 68th and 76th Street. Just if you're even just thinking about this, just go to their website, TerrytownRV.com, and just look at them. Okay, pick one out that looks good to you. Like, think about how much fun you can have, and then go and get a tour of the damn thing. Their number is 616-236-2754. No matter what, if you forget all of this, you can always just email me, like Jonathan did, eric@ericzaneshow.com, and I will point you in the right direction personally. Okay. Horizon Hydroponics is up for renewal. We are ending the ad campaign, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed like I did with Blue Frost IT, and that worked out marvelously because they are awesome. I am keeping my fingers crossed that the illustrious John and Bridget, the 51% owner of Horizon Hydroponics, decides, yep, the Eric Zane Show podcast is worth it. You can help by getting your stuff to keep your things growing appropriately. When you order, mention my name. I heard about you on the Eric Zane Show podcast. That's all you got to do. okay? Whether you're buying in person at the Grand Rapids store on Alpine or at the Growers Outlet in Byron Center, or if you're in Lansing or Kalamazoo, whatever you need, you get it there. Please mention my name. They still have where you can order online at Horizon Hydroponics anywhere in the United States. Orders over $250, shipping is free. That's Horizen, hydroponics.com. Swear to God, I don't know how I'm going to get all of this in today. So much to talk about. Okay. I try not to go down the road of taking any one particular thing and ripping it apart when it comes to the president. But true to form, I call it like I see it. And if you, like me, if you are a listener of my podcast, and I say something that you don't like, I fully expect you to tell me, hey, Zane, that was stupid. One of my good friends, Jason, Zaniac Jason Schaefer, I remember one time I made a joke about something. I think I said it was a dumb joke about a kid. Oh, I remember it. It was on Facebook. He made a comment about a joke that I said, and there was a kid that I didn't like, and the joke was, never before have I prayed more for an Amber Alert, which I've dropped that joke before. That's a great ass joke, by the way. It's mean as shit, but I usually save it for some real asshole kids. Well, hey, he didn't like that at all. And he called me out on that. He goes, oh, come on, too much, dummy, or whatever. So, I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to hit the mark on all my jokes or anything that I might say. I might say something that might rankle you. I don't care as long as you keep coming back. As long as you don't give me a Dear John letter, for God's sake. Jesus. When Trump fucks up, I will not hesitate to call him out on it. I beat the shit out of him about the inject bleach nonsense. That one stands out to me as probably one of the most egregious things I've seen or heard. There's been a million of them. You can park on any one of them, but I pick and choose. And be honest with you, I'm pretty lenient on the guy. So much so that people are like, well, you got to attack him over this one. You got to attack him over this one. You got to attack him over this one. I'm like, you know what? I gotta balance this shit. If I go on this podcast and as a guy like me who is going to vote for Trump, I know you're like, how the fuck can you possibly vote for him? Don't worry about it. If I'm going to be on here and be true to form, I cannot be a wishy-washy idiot. I mean, I cannot be like all in and like, oh, he can do no wrong, like fucking Laura Ingraham or Sean Hannity or some shit like that. As you know, I'm a common sense Republican, okay? I just had a long conversation about this with Brian Kelly from the Shutterbug podcast. Actually, it's known as Full Exposure with Brian Kelly, but he's a photographer, so I always throw these other camera references into it. I talked to him for 90 minutes yesterday on a podcast on his show, and it's going to hit in a couple of weeks. And we had this exact same discussion. He goes, you are rare because you're the guy who says he's going to vote for Trump. And a lot of people keep that opinion closeted up because they're afraid of what people will say or do to them. You stand out boldly like you are going to vote for him. You plant your flag there. And then at the same time, you don't hesitate to call him out when he's being a fuckhead. I go, yeah. That's what I've built I've always done that. I've been doing that since I started to talk. So there you go. Take it or leave it. If you're a big girl enough or a big boy enough to be able to hear this shit, and I hope it doesn't just go in one ear or out the other, but I honestly would be shocked. I mean, I don't know how anybody who is like in my boat and is going to vote for him would take what he said here and go, yeah, make some good points. He fucking said that the old-timer who ran up to the cop and got pushed, and he was lost his balance, and then his head cracked against the ground and blood started pouring out of his ears. Trump retweeted a conspiracy. Actually, he tweeted a tweet about that guy being an ANTIFA operative. And it was a plan, like a wild-ass conspiracy theory. What the fuck? This article says the president's conspiracy mongering about an attack on an elderly man. I guess you could call it an attack. The guy was shoved and he fell. I don't know if it's necessarily an attack, but he was shoved. He did fall. He was hurt. And in my opinion, the cop who did it, that's whose fault it was. Suffered a critical head injury, sent him to an intensive care unit after he was pushed to the ground. And then the broader silence, according to this article. It's a very slanted article, by the way. And the broader silence and denial from prominent Republicans. Well, not me. I'm a prominent Republican, and I think that whole thing is bullshit. On Tuesday morning, President tweeted a right-wing conspiracy theory that the man, 75-year-old Martin Gugino, quote, could be an Antifa provocateur who was pushed away after appearing to scan police communications in order to block out the equipment. In order to black out the equipment. And I'm not sure what that would even entail. And if that were a thing, what's going on there? And it wasn't. That isn't what happened. Trump continued by saying, I watched. He fell harder than he was pushed. Was aiming scanner. Could be a setup. Could be a setup? Question mark. Come on, man. It's so embarrassing when this happens. It makes it so difficult to stand up and say, yeah, I'm voting for you when you do this shit. This is really pathetic. This is disgusting to me. A video which we can that we all can see shows the cop pushing the guy, and he's 75. He's wobbly. Fell to the ground. He lies there unmoving as he bleeds out of his ear. The other cops step around him. One appears to begin to help. In fact, the one who had the billy club and pushed him with the cross-check type motion is the one who bent down, but then is guided away by his colleague. Two of those guys were suspended from the incident. Gugino is a longtime activist and a member of nonprofits that focuses on affordable housing and human rights. There's no evidence he is an Antifa provocateur, nor that he faked a fall that left him bleeding from his ear and landed him in the hospital. Closed head injury. Nor that he was aiming a scanner. If he was, what's going on there? What the hell are they talking about? What does that even do? I might have to save that one for Mike the cop, who's going to join me now. Shit, hold the phone. I'm late. I'm a minute late. I'm going to call Mike the cop right now. The timing works out on this perfectly. If you've got a question for Mike the cop, you can reach out, Eric at ericzaneshow.com, and perhaps he'll answer your questions. All right.
Hello?
Mike the cop, how are you?
I'm good, Eric. How you doing?
Very well. I'm actually titling it Mike the Cop. I mean, and then...
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. And, maybe if we kick ass, you can be a regular.
All right.
So
I like it.
I didn't even say where in the United States you are. No one has any idea.
Okay.
Isn't that
that's fine.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, all right. While we're getting started here and introducing you to the audience, I even indicated that if they wanted to, they could send in a question that they had for you, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Are you nervous at all about this?
No, I think I'm a little eager to attempt to give another side to,
okay,
to some of this.
Okay.
There's definitely, yeah. I mean, it's more eagerness, I think.
Okay, so and this all started because you were listening to this podcast, hearing me rant and rave, and you're like, "Oh man, I wish I could get on there and discuss a few of these things with me." So I applaud you for reaching out.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Before I called you, I was on the subject about Trump's tweet, and I don't really want to ask your opinion about the tweet, but he was trying to punch some holes into the old timer approaching the Buffalo cops and then him getting hurt. Do you think that the old timer was that a legitimate fall and he was injured, right? I mean, we all saw him get hurt. It wasn't like a plant or a fake story, was it?
Well, that part I can't say. I don't want to say strongly one side or the other, but what is one that leads me into one thing I will discuss is like, if you don't mind me getting into this part of it, is I think a lot of the public doesn't understand the Black Lives Matter organization is highly funded, and I can tell you as a fact that these organizations are not a grassroots movement, that there's paid actors there, there's paid security there. They're very well organized. So, and that's a fact. So where it seems like it's just a group of individuals that showed up, a lot of them are actually being paid and have a certain agenda. And it also is a fact that there are some that are paid at each one of them to instigate and antagonize. I'm not going to say that's exactly what I heard here, but the Buffalo mayor, black man, even said of his knowledge that this man was an instigator, an antagonist in previous days that turned violent and that turned to businesses being damaged and looted. So, that's one thing I wanted to get into. And I think, so to answer the question, I can't say for sure, but I can say that, it's highly likely that the agenda was to try to get some type of pushback or some type of incident to occur. Whether I think that he purposely said, I'm going to smash my head on the ground, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Well, let's just start from the top. I have no reason to doubt what you said as being true or not true. Let's just say it is true, and it probably is, everything you said. So what? I mean, what does that matter if they're funded, if they're organized, if they've got people there that are designed to get everybody all worked up? I mean, it's been a very bloody war here, and it's gone on for a long time. So I'm guessing that their side are like, yeah, big deal. What's the problem?
Yep. So I would say, like, a peaceful protest, and I've stood at them myself. I've stood at them where they started to go the other way. A cop is a cop for a reason. I want to protect the citizens, the rights of the citizens, and I protect somebody's right to protest against anything, abortion, for it, against it, whatever. That's the world that's the country we live in, and the reason I and many other cops do the job. What I think is when there's a further agenda, like, okay, so you see that they let them protest all day. The mayor said, shut it down before dark, because at dark, businesses are getting damaged, looted, violence. Police officers are having things thrown at them, run over, and so are people that are there to just be peaceful protesters are also being injured as well. So, there's a reason why that riot control, and again, I don't have firsthand knowledge of what occurred in Buffalo, but I'm just going based on what I know of protocol and what's out there. That they were told to get that shut down before dark. Okay. So they had all day to protest and do their thing. I think it's very apparent that gentleman, as he walked forward towards that line, he knew, there's no question what that line's doing. They're giving verbal warnings, get off the street, clear out. He approaches despite all that. So the reason I say the part in the beginning is why it's funded and organized and such is, I think a rational individual who is just there to peaceful protest sees that part is going on and says, okay, well, maybe it's time to shut it down for the night for the safety of everybody, safety of the police, safety of us, everybody. I'll come back and protest tomorrow some more.
So
I think that's
okay. Let's say he's an agitator, he's an instigator, he's always raising three kinds of hell. How much hell can he raise when one old timer walks up to a police line? I mean, is that
yes? So and then I'm not saying the result of what happened to him matches what he was doing. I don't think that the police officer intended that. But again, just step your way through protocol that those police officers are told, okay, move forward and clear the streets, right? So if let's say that's the first person they encounter, they gave him verbal warnings. So you could hear that in the video, right? There's multiple cops yelling him to get out, clear the street.
okay?
He yet still approaches them, okay? And then at that point, he actually reaches towards the gun belt of the officer, okay?
I did not see that. I didn't see it. But
yeah.
but I'm not saying it didn't happen.
He reaches with his right hand down near the gun belt of the officer, right? And if you listen to the district attorney says that, well, if he was violating a crime, the past curfew crime that they were locking some people up for, he should have been arrested instead of them pushing him back. But police officers do not arrest every person that could be arrested. Right. So there's totality of the events that are occurring, and weighing all that in, if the first person you encounter during this is a 75-year-old man who's approaching you, do you really want it? There's a possibility you can just get him to back up, and if he's been the leader in a lot of this, and he backs up and he walks off, and everybody follows him. Instead, you grab him. That's what you want to do. That's why it's possible they sent that individual forward first. To attempt to gain some type of traction with this issue or between the two, between the police officer and the 75-year-old man. So he approaches that line gives him verbal warnings. Then he reaches out towards our gun belt. And if you look, the officer that pushes him, it's fingertips. He doesn't push him with his baton. He doesn't swing it at him. He actually is off balance, off to the side, and it's fingertips that he pushes him back with. So I can't imagine that police officer meant and intended for that man to, you watch, he stumbles, he takes 3-4 steps back and falls. Well, it's a horrible situation.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. If you push, who knows? I mean, it wouldn't have. So you're saying that was all justified?
Oh yeah. At the risk of being on the show and hearing what might come back, yeah. It is. Not him. Of course, nobody wants that to happen to a 75-year-old man. But the fingertips just push back. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, especially in the streets, you're dealing with situations similar, and you're not. What are you going to do? Tackle the old man? You're gonna again. I think it was a decision they made to say, all right, we're not going to grab this guy and cuff him up. Let's just get this moving along and get everybody going.
Right
now, and here's the other thing. The district attorney said that. Well, he should have been arrested for it. Well, we also know that district attorney's office drops all those violation charges of disorderly conduct or not following curfew. So it's going to amount to nothing. So let's just get the guy moving along at that point. So after that occurs, can I get into the next part?
Oh, please do. Please do.
Okay.
By the way,
after that occurs,
listen to me. You're doing fantastic. You're doing a great job. This is exactly what I wanted you to do.
Perfect. So after that occurs, there's some outcry of, well, they didn't render aid immediately to him. But if you look, it's within 10 seconds he's being rendered aid. And the step that happens is that front line, their protocol is more than likely to, A, not let anybody breach the line, and B, if they do, you do not move the line backwards. You then you close that gap, and you keep everybody else out. Okay, so you step forward. Because for the safety of him, you don't need, if he's on the ground, you don't need a bunch of people running in on him now. You can't give him the aid that he needs. So people are going to get trampled on, et cetera. And you have a mission. The mission is to move everybody off the street for the safety of everybody, right? And again, speaking from knowing police protocols, not specifically what occurred in Buffalo. But that line then, the one supervisor, you can see radios within 3 seconds of the man falling. He's radio.
I'm looking at that right now.
He's radioing so he's radioing to obviously notify, we have somebody injured. etc. So the rest of the line, then he tells the rest of his guys, move forward. He wants to move forward, protect that spot. And if you watch, there's another angle from another video from across the street.
Yeah.
They moved forward and then held their line. They didn't go anywhere after that point. They stood right there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that too.
And then, and then within, it's less than 10 seconds, it looks like maybe a National Guards member who's probably a trained combat medic is then kneeling down, and then somebody else, I think in like a maroon shirt or something, some other possible EMT, kneels down and starts rendering aid to the man. So, to in my eyes, I don't see anything except a fingertip off balance push of just back off. Because you're right, he could have been arrested, but I don't think it should be held against a police officer who decided not to arrest the 75-year-old man. That's what he did was we do. I mean, the end of the line is the police officers. The police officers don't call 911. They don't ask for anybody else. That's the end of the line. And a lot of people don't understand that it can be a physical job. Use your words first. But sometimes you have to place hands on people. And I think that event that occurred there without all of the previous events from George Floyd, the occurrence of that, which obviously every police officer is disgusted by. I think I talked to you about that briefly.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
we don't even need to discuss that. We know that's disgusting.
In fact, I talked about it on the lead up to this, that there's no defending that, obviously.
Right. But I think without that in the previous couple weeks,
sure.
This is almost an explainable event to most rational Americans if they had hear this part of it and they go, okay, well, that's understandable. Because what else are you supposed to do? Those streets need to be clear. They have a mission to do. They have a lot of streets. The city of Buffalo is big. There's only 50, 70 officers there to clear those streets out, and that's
It's bad. It's bad enough.
So in my eyes,
it's bad enough that they live in Buffalo. I mean, that's hell. They got to root for the Sabres.
Yeah, I guess. Or the Bills.
Yeah, but listen, I watched it. I don't agree with you. I think I did see his hand. He had a helmet in one hand for one reason. I don't know. And then in the other hand, he had his phone. And you said it looked like he was going for his gun. No, it didn't. I just watched it. He's reaching near his gun belt. He is with his right hand. He looked like he was talking. He looks like the type of talking you would do when you're talking with your hand. There's no way. And
his head is looking. Eric, look at his head. Look at his head.
I am looking at it.
Down at the gun belt.
So what?
He's looking down at the gun belt and reaching with that hand.
He's talking, and he's not reaching with the hand because he's holding on to something. There's no way he could have been reaching for it with shit in his hand. He doesn't have two hands. He doesn't have two right hands, Mike.
So, and again, this is where I think there'll never be quite an understanding on that part of it. But as a police officer, you don't let people near your gun belt. And again, I think that it was a New York City. Did you see the video from the New York City police, like PBA, recently? I think it was Mike O'Meara or something. And he puts out there. He says, "Listen, we have 475 million interactions a year. Good, peaceful interactions. We're being held accountable for 2 incidents. But my point is, the number of times where someone might get near your gun belt is very low. You take that very serious. If you're standing there face to face with somebody, as it is, we like people at arm's length play. Because you just don't know what could happen at a moment's notice. And I think they let him approach. They let him stand there. They verbally warned him to back up. There's no reason for him to be doing that. That man, there's no reason. It's unfortunate what happened. I don't think what occurred to him fits, right? Like if it was to say, well, he approached him too closely, does him having his head smashed off the ground fit? No, of course not. That's an unfortunate circumstance that occurred, but he had to get back from him. How else should he have gotten him back? Away from him?
A lot of people might say they could have not shoved him. Is that not acceptable for a cop?
No, it wouldn't be acceptable. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just let him stand that close to you the whole time, and then just stand there?
I don't know. Put your arm around him and say, hey,
I know, but
walk with me, old timer. We're going to get you over to the side here. I mean, does it always have to be so heavy-handed? Why do you have to do it that way? Why does it always have to be? And then because he wasn't, I mean, how threatening could he have been if there would have just been, come on, let's go, let's keep moving, or you could get hurt, anything, say anything other than what they did. I think that that's what you might experience in your profession is nowadays with all the shit that's going on, you might have to police like that now.
No. And frankly, the other part that's odd that these people aren't seeing is most of our interactions are good people. Most of our interactions are people that are saying, God bless you, be safe, appreciate what you're doing, it's horrible out there. But it's not what's shown on the media. It's shown is that everybody hates cops right now. So in general, no, but that's not a normal circumstance whatsoever. And I think you have to remember that the police aren't called out to clear the streets. Nobody took this job to act in like that militant state, but we were asked, they're asked to,
right.
In that situation. And in many other, like we have and area that I work, you're asked to do that from these people that sit behind a desk and in the offices that then turn on you when, when that occurs.
I get it. So basically
the only other option that they could have done was grab his arm, put it behind his back. The front line, it typically doesn't make arrests. The front line either pushes people back or lets them through, and then the back lines place them under.
Do you think he
custody.
flopped?
So,
do you think he flopped like a New York Ranger hockey player?
I can't say. I don't want to make a strong statement
yes,
one way or the other because I can't say.
You should. You should say. You should because
you've heard me though. Like I can't say. So I would lean more towards. No, I'm not gonna do it.
All right. I don't want to. Maybe as you get more accustomed to being on the show, but listen, I would still want to talk to you. I have more things to ask you. What is? But my dad is waiting. Can I call you back, or are you like working right now?
Yeah, I'm not working right now. I'm actually home. Like I told you before, we've had to work the last. Whatever, we worked straight through. Working for almost 2 weeks straight.
Okay, well, can you sit tight for like...
I might be available when you call.
Okay, sit tight for like 15 minutes, and then I'll call you back.
Yep, sounds good, Eric.
You're doing a great job, by the way.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, somebody's got to put themselves out there, right?
This is terrific. You're killing it. That's a bad word to use. You're doing very well.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Talk to you in a bit, Mike the Cop. Thank you very much. There we go. How about that? People are like, see, Zane, you can't be just throwing people under the bus like that. I don't know. I still think it was bullshit. He shouldn't have pushed the guy. I don't care what Mike says. But Mike did a good job talking about it. I'm going to get to Dad in just a second. Here your questions for Dad at Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Don't forget. I'm on Patreon when the show is done with another podcast for you at patreon.com/Eric Zane. If you think this show is worth it and fun, would you throw $5 or $10 at me a month? And then you can continue to get more podcasting each and every day. Nowadays, I'm putting out as much material as any morning radio show. Because morning radio show, in about a 60-minute span, like for the 7 o'clock hour, they do 21 minutes of advertising for 39 minutes of content. I'm putting out as much as your favorite morning show. And it's better, too. It's not a bunch of bullshit lists. All right. So there's that. Not to mention the Kent County Health Department. I want you to call them at 616-632-7200. They remind you to cough into the elbow. They remind you to wear a mask. They remind you to stay socially distant from one another. If you need more info about the WIC program, 616-632-7200. And don't forget, they have 4 testing stations open for COVID-19 testing. More information at the Kent County Health Department website. The kings of DIY awesomeness in the Northland, Baldwin Ace Hardware. Beautiful Mike Gilmurray. More about him and what he's doing to help my man Bob Kaiser out after his frickin' Kilwins got looted downtown coming up. Thank you to Baldwin Ace Hardware. When you go up north, go there. Baldwin Ace Hardware in beautiful Baldwin, Michigan. for everything DIY and fun-related. Get a new grill there at Baldwin Ace Hardware. Awesome. And last but not least, before I bring in the man, my dad, Green Clean Technologies at 989-560-7272. This company cleans data centers in businesses. Okay? So if your company's got a room behind a bunch of glass along the hallway that, you show the investors, these are the computers, all the blinky lights, amazing things. Somebody's got to clean that. And you can't just go through with a broom and a bottle of Fantastic and think you're going to get it clean. It requires top-notch professional care to keep that environment sterile. And there's a lot to it. So follow those rules and those protocols with Green Clean Technologies. Online at greencleantechnologies.com. There's their sign. 989-560-7272. It's like a talk show today. How about this? If you have a question for Dad, send it along. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. I can't hear you, guy.
Good morning, Grand Rapids, and you are 2 minutes late.
I know it. Well, actually, more than that, it looks to me like 4 minutes late.
Well, our clocks are different.
Yeah. Well, I was. It's really crazy. Today's quite an involved show, brought to you by JM Synthetics' Dear Meathead, and I just spent a fair amount of time talking with a police officer about all of the things going on in the world.
And
well, we didn't. There's a lot of things I wanted to talk about, but we only
lay it on me.
We only got as far as the discussion about the old timer in Buffalo who got pushed and his head hit the ground. Did you see that one?
I don't really recall. I've seen so many things lately. So
yeah. So anyway, it was a good conversation. I'm probably going to call him back when I get done with you, but I wanted to get to you as quickly as possible. How are you, Dad?
Doing well. How about yourself and your family?
Not bad. When do you think you'll be ready to start taking visitors?
Oh, I don't know. I can't really determine it. We're really cautious about this whole thing.
Yep.
So, I need to go to the Home Depot for so long to get things and all that. I'm putting it off. I can go in there, but I'm putting it off.
Yeah. What are you thinking about getting? Hopefully it's not a saw.
Getting rid of the saw?
No. Hopefully you're not going to buy a saw at Home Depot.
Oh, I'm not buying a saw.
We're just out sawing.
We hand saw things, branches.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Putting that wood out there.
Oh.
I cut a hand saw, a handheld saw, and I cut pieces of log.
Electric hand
Is
saw.
that
electric hand saw,
Really? Is that like a jigsaw or a circular saw, or what's going on?
It's a circular saw.
Oh my God!
Not a circular saw, a handheld saw.
Like a sawzall.
It's a circular saw, I guess.
A circular? Yeah, I don't know, man. That's oh boy. I'll tell you what.
It's not a table saw.
I know, but it's still sharp as hell and spins. I mean.
Oh yeah, but I'm really cautious with those things.
Wait a minute. How can you possibly say I am not going to use a table saw and then use something that is just as well, in fact, in many cases, probably more dangerous? How could you possibly justify that?
Because the table saw acted according to his own desire how he went. I had nothing to do with it.
Let me get this straight. The table saw acted as his own desire.
Yeah, table saw, the blade had shifted direction, and it bound itself.
Boy, I think we choked up Joanne there with that one, Dad.
Well, she cracks up on every little thing.
She has probably the most wonderful sense of humor I've ever.
Oh, she laughs almost at everything.
Everybody loves her. She's like the star. We got to put her on a T-shirt.
Well, I don't know. You got to check with her.
Oh, she'd love it. In fact, Dad, our first question from Megan actually is a question for Joanne. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Okay. Hello, Megan.
Megan asks, do you have a good recipe to treat a sunburn?
My wife can answer that for you.
Well, good. That's what she wants. She wants to know if Joanne has a remedy for a sunburn.
You got a remedy?
Witch hazel.
Witch hazel.
What is that?
It's a liquid like alcohol that you can buy in a bottle, not the kind you drink, but it's called witch hazel.
Yeah.
You just pat it on with a piece of cotton. It'll take the sting out of the burn.
Witch hazel. And you can get that pretty much anywhere, huh?
Yeah, it's very cheap.
All right. There you go, Megan. You know that the witch hazel, straight from Joanne. Your experience is showing. Fantastic.
Thanks for calling, Megan.
Yes, she actually wrote in, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
Okay. Tim writes this. Dear Meathead, lately we've been hearing a lot of people saying defund or disband the police. In your experience living both inside and outside the U.S., is that a good or a terrible idea?
It's a terrible idea.
How come?
Because you just cannot go without policing. It's got to be, there's always some issues that's coming up that requires a police officer's involvement in. However, they really need to be careful who do they hire to become a police officer. Also, however, the police officers are sick and tired of all the occurrences that are happening, and they got to sit back there and babysit the criminals.
Okay.
Now, this person that we lost had really nothing to do to die.
Okay.
He died really in vain. And then when the police officers warned the one that is sitting on the criminal, he wasn't even a criminal. And he just didn't. He says, no, this is good. This kind of crap is what has got to stop.
Absolutely.
I mean, it makes me sick to hear that a police officer can do that. I recall when I was 15, 14 years old, Mountie police on Woodward Avenue, and I happened to be out there,
Right.
was going on the road, on the street, and I was on the sidewalk, and I waved to him. He stops the horse, got off the horse, and shook my hand and said, how you doing?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Can you believe that?
A little bit of
Now,
love.
that is a policeman.
All right. Brian writes, Dear Meathead, I know from past episodes when you came to the country, you sold insurance. Did you get into insurance by choice, or was it a job that presented itself to you when you came to America? Stay safe, Meathead. Look forward to the phone call every week. Signed, Brian in Granville, Michigan.
Brian, I didn't get in the insurance business right away. I was here as a young person going to school and finally graduated. But throughout the years of going to school, I by myself, I endured a lot of disharmony on my own because I had no money, no nothing. Anyway, I went to college because I just that was the norm. I have to go to college. Now, the question he wanted, would you remind me what he wanted to know?
Well, now I forget. Hang on. I actually deleted it. Sorry. Jesus.
It was just an education that I had to go through.
He wanted to know, he said, did you get into it by choice, or was it a job that presented itself to you when you came to America?
No, it's a presented to me. It was not by choice. I cleaned carpeting for a long time, and then I took a job in a drugstore while I was going to school.
Got it.
And then I spent almost 2 years doing that, and I headed for pharmacy education later on, and then it didn't peter out, so I did peter it out.
Okay, yeah.
I just couldn't afford it, so I decided that I used to go to lunch every day, and then I met a person as an insurance agent. He suggested that maybe I try that field.
Uh-huh.
I did that, and from there on, I really liked what I did, and I really succeeded in that.
Okay. Very good. Dean wants to know how the garden is going, Dad. What's the latest on the garden, please?
Well, actually, the garden is doing great, and this morning yesterday late in the afternoon, my neighbor came out. He's the one that set me all up and planted all my garden for me because I wasn't doing a good job. And he's a gardener at heart.
Yeah.
And he fixed me all up and put all my gardening plants in, the seeds in. Everything is in by them.
Okay, good.
That's he and his son-in-law. And yesterday he came in here, hold the garden for me, showed me how to do it. And, something that I will do for 2 hours, he does it in less than 10 minutes.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Awesome neighbors. And then this morning at the crack of dawn, I had to get up and water the garden because we're expecting a big storm in here.
Wait a minute. You said you wanted to
water. We're hoping that it's going to pour.
So you said, did you say you watered the garden in preparation for the rain?
Yeah, I did. I just on right now going.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not going to, the garden is bone dry. I got to get wet.
Well, yeah, but don't most people water it on the days that it's not going to rain?
Well, hey, I can't help it. I was afraid that the thing is dying.
Yeah, well, you better get it turned off.
All right.
Oh.
Dad.
The side chicks tell me I better get it turned off, but I want to run.
Okay.
I got money for the water.
Dad, people want to know when is the next Deer Meathead Zoom? You know how we did the video thing?
On a computer?
Yeah. Do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think next week might be a fun time for a Deer Meathead Zoom where you see all the people and interact with them like we did before?
Well, that's pretty much up to you how you do it, and the timing.
Okay.
If you give me a week advance notice, it can happen.
I'll call you and firm this up, but I'm guessing probably like next Thursday or something like that.
Is this going to be in the evening hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just sit there.
Yeah, that should be all right.
Yeah.
You give me adequate time, so.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be for the people on Patreon, so I'll talk a little bit more about that.
All right. Will that be the same group, or you got a new group coming in?
I imagine you would see a lot of similar faces and maybe a few new ones if they decide, because some people may have not been able to make the first one,
Sure. That'll be all right. That was a good group.
Yeah, it was. We had a good time.
Yeah,
let me see. Okay, well, I tell you what, I think that's about it. I am all out of questions. I have nothing here ready to go. I've exhausted as many as I could. So I guess I'm gonna have to leave it right there, Dad. It's always fantastic to hear you and Joanne's voice.
Well, thank you so much. And by the way, it was kind of cute how you left a message last night. One word.
Really?
To remind me that we're going to be on today.
Oh, yeah, it was very short. It's like, I'm calling tomorrow, meathead.
All right. That was 3 words.
Okay, Dad. Well, I love you guys. You guys are the best.
All right. Say hello to family as usual. I love them all.
Absolutely.
And, we're sending our regards to the entire family.
Okay, Dad. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you very soon.
Likewise.
All right, there you go, Dear Meathead. My gosh, brought to you by JM Synthetics, online at jmsynthetics.com. They sell AMSOIL, okay? The best in the business. They invented synthetic motor oil. 616-747-0233. Yeah, you can call Jason up, and, if you don't have a computer, which would be embarrassing. Otherwise, he's going to go, yeah, hey, Jason, how are you? I'm fine. Hey, I want some AMSOIL. Okay, go to my website. Zane's already talked about it. jmsynthetics.com. Click. They have a ton of product line, and if you get the preferred customer setup, that's $20 a year. It opens up the entire product line of AMSOIL products, lubricants, and amazing things like that for your DIY stuff. And there you go. And you're going to save a lot of money, too. You get the lower price point when you are a preferred customer. And what you do is you sign up for preferred customer, $20 at jmsynthetics.com for the whole year. And then buy $100 worth of stuff, and Jason gives you the $20 back. So there you go. You get your money back. And then you're a preferred customer. Why wouldn't you do this? Okay? Thank you to jmsynthetics.com. Jason is in Saranac, Michigan. Now, that is a hotbed of Zane Show sponsors because you've got JM Synthetics there, and then just down the road is BK Guns and Stuff. And this is a great story because great mom-and-pop business, 2 gunsmiths, Benjamin and Kyle Newton, husband and wife, and they have been doing this for quite some time, refurbishing weaponry, cleaning weaponry, customizing, building from the ground up, selling firearms, BK Guns and Stuff. They also do firearms transfers, okay? anywhere in the United States. A lot of their customer base are people that they just do it via the mail, and you can do that too. If you're a Zane Show podcast listener, you can take advantage of. You have a gunsmith. You have 2 of them at your disposal. BK Guns and Stuff. Their phone number, and you can just call them up, 616-902-2447. And there's a logo on my website at ericzaneshow.com for BK Guns and Stuff. You click on that, it goes right to their Facebook page. And there's all sorts of information there, too. You cannot miss this. All right, very good. Meanwhile, thanks again to the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage, 231-332-6505. If you are in the market for a mortgage and anywhere in the United States, you can call upon the services of the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. NMLS number 3035. Supposed to say that once in a while, but they're amazing, and there's Van Dyke Mortgages all over the United States. But the number one, the very tip top, is Mario, okay? I want you to call upon Mario, sitting at his desk, ready to go. If he's not there, he'll just leave a message. He'll call you back, 231-332-6505. And you can also click on their link in the sponsor notes or in the show notes. It'll take you right to their website, man. And I have them prominently displayed at ericzaneshow.com. Refi, first mortgage, 10th mortgage, doesn't matter. The Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. All right. Jumping around here, but whatever. That's the way the show goes. Want to get back in touch with Mike the Cop here. I'm not quite done with him. If you have a question for Mike the Cop, Eric at ericzaneshow.com.
Eric?
What up, buddy?
Hey.
Is this cool? I don't want to eat up too much of your time.
No, we're good. 1 second.
Yeah, you letting the dog out?
1 second. No, we got kids. My baby just went to sleep, so I had to move into the other room. We're good.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Let's roll with it.
Let me ask you this. How does a cop unwind? Because I've heard that some cops, when they're constantly in this, if they're the type of guy or girl who is really kind of amped up during the workday in a job where at any one point in time they could have something terrible happen, how do you let that go and go back to your family life?
I think hold on 1 second.
No, it's okay. It's okay. If you want, I can buy you some time.
I'm in another room. So, listening to the Eric Zane Show, of course, on the way home.
Thank you. Yeah, but then I get you all worked up when I say something like, "When are cops going to start to beat each other up?"
Yeah, that's true. Then I couldn't go to sleep that night. Yeah, I think you just got to learn to separate it. It's not easy. I know some guys and gals try to keep it from their spouses. They think it's better, but I find it's better to just kind of, I might not give all the details to my spouse, but just kind of talk it out, like, that kind of this generally occurred today, but and then I think you just got to learn to to let it go when you leave. It's hard. It's hard to.
Is it?
But you're not amped up all the time. The job itself is not. The best way it was explained to me before I got on the job was, you're at a lull, very, very boring periods of time for a long time, and then it's boom, it's 0 to 60. For whatever the hot call is or whatever you're dealing with, and then back down again. So I think that you just got to learn to do that. You just got to learn to let it go. But yeah, and then just your regular stuff. Have other hobbies. Have other things to do on your days off. Family time.
Sure. What about what have you experienced in your position since all the shit has hit the fan? Like a one-on-one interaction with a person who just like maybe verbally attacked you because you are a cop. Have you had that happen?
I can't say since this occurred, I had a specific event like that was any different than before. I think I mentioned before, like 90% of the people that we deal with, even if they committed a crime, are generally respectful to us, or we're respectful to them, and things go mostly smooth. But there's always, I mean, that there's always been that 10%, and it's probably actually more like 1%, but that just do not like cops. And the part is that I kind of try to explain to friends sometimes is that, you know, we're asked to deal with what society doesn't want to deal with. You know, nobody else wants to deal with these individuals. They're heinous, and that has nothing to do with color, whites, blacks. And these are just, you know, it's just heinous individuals who nobody, you know, and nobody wants to deal with, and they commit horrible crimes, and they have no remorse for them. And, you know, it's tough. I think the tough part about this job is when you hear of the people that say, you know, well, they shouldn't go to jail. You should take it easy. You shouldn't arrest them for this or that. But until that crime is committed against them, or until that person moves in next to them, and then they're calling us, you know, then it's okay. Then they want our help. So that part's kind of difficult.
Tim has a question. A lot of my audience is corresponding with me via the email so that I can get questions to you in real time, and that's encouraging. By the way, you doing this is a great thing, because people that are in law enforcement have probably wanted somebody who has a voice who can maybe provide some insight from your perspective.
Yeah.
So that's good. But Tim writes this, and I'll work backwards on this, Mike the Cop. With he writes that he knows that this might seem like a smart-ass question, but he's asking it to you for those people who believe that this kind of nonsense, and I'll explain what that is happening every day in every police department, realizing how ridiculous it is for them to suggest something like this is. And it goes like this. Could you please ask Mike the Cop what the protocol is for how a black person has to be what the protocol is for how black a person has to be before excessive force is not only authorized, but it's encouraged. Now, again, he realizes that sounds like a smart-ass question, but how would you answer somebody who asks you such a pointed question like that?
That's just, I don't know, that's just absurd. I'm not sure I could even answer. I can't even entertain that.
I think what he's getting at is you're getting questions like this from people. And how do you navigate somebody who asks you something so vile and attacking? What would you do?
I mean, if I was having a one-on-one conversation with something regarding that, I mean, I just say, I don't know. I guess I would just say, like, you know, that's absurd. It's obviously not true.
Okay.
So, I mean, I arrest way more whites than I arrest blacks. So what am I, you know, like, what is
Sure. When
the point that we make as police officers is, like, if you're not committing crimes, you're not going to get arrested. That has nothing to do with color at that point. And nobody's out looking. You know, the other thing it came to my mind is, you know, in my career, I've arrested, I don't know, probably a couple hundred arrests, and then been part of more with other officers making arrests. And I have not once in my career experience, obviously myself, racism or, any of the other officers I've worked with, as far as anything out of line, brutality, anything geared towards, like, somebody's getting arrested because of their color. Yeah, we've arrested black men, black women, white men, women, but it obviously has nothing to do with that. And, the situation is a lot of these events that we're looking at, people are going crazy about, what happened to profiling? I thought this was all related to, racial profiling. Well, none of these were all 911 related, or, it's not like the police officers were out looking for, black man, black woman, et cetera. This is all just spurred by this, I don't know what it is, this crazy clash between a certain small group of individuals that I don't think represent the general public, that think, the voice is strong of cop hating, but again, I don't think, 90% of America is just going out, making their paycheck, mowing their lawn, and drinking their bush lights, and respecting everybody, cops.
Mike the Cop. Let me ask you this: in the Chauvin incident where Floyd died, the three other cops, What's going on there? How come? I mean, was it right for them to do nothing? Should they have? I mean, how can we justify what happened there with those 3 other cops? And what can we do going forward? If you were in that scenario, let's say you're one of those 3 cops, and you see there's no pulse, what would Chauvin off? I mean, how would Mike the cop have handled this?
Yeah, so we also have to make a lot of assumptions because there's a lot of stuff going on there. The police officers were also trying to, it's especially those city departments. They're also trying to watch everyone around them because you've seen the videos of cops being attacked while they're placing somebody else in custody. So I think a lot of their attention was spurred those ways. But obviously, if I was there and a million other cops were there and also observed that the gentleman was that George Floyd was not breathing, then obviously anybody would have stepped in. I don't know. I don't know everything that occurred there. I don't know if they were aware of that entirely. Obviously you put a lot of trust in the other officer, and maybe he thought the other officer was aware of what was or wasn't occurring as far as him breathing or not.
I know, but let's just say, for argument, let's say you're there and you detect no pulse, and the guy has stopped moving, stopped talking, he's not flinching, the guy still has the knee on the neck. Maybe get down into his ear and say, dude, get off him. He's
yeah,
out.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. My understanding was that I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get too deep into that because it's pretty apparent like that was excessive.
Yeah.
I doubt that cop went out that day and said, I'm going to kill a black man. He took it too far, and during that arrest, and he knelt on the guy for too long. And George Floyd's dead because of it. And I don't know. That's pretty clear. But I guess my understanding was that he was still breathing and talking right up until they got off of him, and then that's where they detected it. But,
that's not true. That's not true at all. Not true at all.
Okay.
3 minutes before they had no pulse, and someone even was heard on camera saying he has no pulse. Then 3.
Oh yeah, then definitely somebody should have.
Yeah.
Like I said, I said to you before, like it's apparent that was wrong.
Right.
There's
I
not
just
much
wanted
to dispute there.
I just didn't want you. I didn't want to let you get away with that shit on this show.
Well, no, that's not. Listen,
you didn't know. You didn't know.
It's a sensitive subject, and I'm not.
I know. You're a pussy.
He should have. And if I was there, if I was there, yeah, of course, I would have stopped
listen,
that. Okay.
So listen, I wanted to get you on for the things we talked about. This is the first time you've done this. You've done a hell of a job, and I wanted to end with some lighthearted questions that the audience has for you. For Mike the cop, right. Because we can't end talking about such heavy shit and then just say see you later. That would be terrible. Okay. Question one. What is the fastest you have ever driven in a patrol car?
120.
Oh my gosh! Was that one of those? Was that a Dodge or was it? What was it?
Dodge Charger.
Oh, those things was that and they come with a V8 motor by chance?
Oh, yeah, they're sick.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus, that must be a big thrill to just get in the gas on one of those things. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Man, what about if a person, can a person buy one of those at auction at some point after they're decommissioned?
Yeah, you can. Yep. And usually it's the people that drive them. The decommissioned ones, they're usually some type of like top off posers. You gotta keep your eye on them.
Yeah, I noticed that. Every town's got guy who thinks he's cop and he drives one of those.
Yep.
That's really weird. You always see those guys coming and you think, what the hell is wrong with that dude? Have you ever pulled up cop poser? Have you ever pulled one over?
Yes. Yeah. Not entirely because it's it's actually a crime. And out of the state I live in and pretty much every state. To actually pose as a cop but you hear stories of it. I haven't actually caught a guy doing it, but I have pulled over guys that they have all of the stuff, but just not to the criminal level,
Okay. And finally, last thing, Craig wants to know, what is the best story, Mike the cop, of someone who tried to get out of a ticket? Do you have like a favorite of yours?
Get out of a ticket.
Has a woman ever flirted with you? Has a lady ever flirted with Mike the cop, hoping that maybe some of those female charms gets her to not have a ticket?
Of course. But the joke's on them because I don't write a lot of tickets anyways. So make them flirt anyways, and then I'm usually not writing the ticket.
Mike, I would fall victim to that every time. I would never, if I pulled over a woman and she flirted with me, I was like, oh God, all right, get out of here.
Yeah. Can't think of any off the top of my head of for tickets. I've had a lot for like people trying to get out of crimes. I had a guy try to bribe me with $1 million. Obviously he didn't actually have $1 million. He had like 63, but I still wasn't taking it.
Oh man. Well, I tell you what, this is what I want you to do. I want you to keep a mental, on your phone, when you think of something that you want to talk about on the show, and have a running list of shit I've done that's like, oh man, I got to beat him up about this, or I got to talk about this. And then we'll reconvene and have another segment of Mike the Cop when you get another day off, and we'll spend time like this, and we'll just dominate like we have with this.
Yeah. Sure. Listen, I'd love to hit some of the lighthearted stuff, and obviously I'm putting myself out there, and sometimes there's sensitivity. People don't want to hear it, but I just wanted to try to at least give, our side of it is like the police are called on to handle at the very end what nobody else can handle, and we're doing it as a job. Nobody's going out there and saying, I hate black people. I hate this white old man who's yelling at me. Whatever, et cetera. It's a job.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people think that it's way more than that to us. And it is. Go shake a little kid's hand who loves cops, or, we can help out, some old lady whose house has been robbed or whatever. That's what it's all about. But in general, for the day-to-day stuff and for going out and clearing people off the street or for dealing with this stuff, it's a job, and we want to do our job and want to go home later.
Okay.
So
I think that at the end of the day, me with my opinion, how strong I come on most of these things, but having you on has given me some perspective, a little bit more. So I think that's a good thing, and I'm sure that there aren't many cops talking right now. Most are being very quiet because it's kind of like open season on cops. Well, that's a terrible way to describe it, but it kind of is. I mean, you guys are getting the shit kicked out of you.
Right. And that's the thing, is there's kind of a safety net amongst ourselves, and we are bitching and moaning amongst ourselves that, the same people that are hating us that are going to turn around and call us, for assistance, and we'll be there, and we take care of it. But it definitely is. It's a tough sentiment that, it sucks for. Real quick, if you don't mind, I'll get into it. It sucks for my family. It sucks for my family that they,
please do.
that they have to turn on, kids and wife, that they have to see on the news that there's people that are calling, all cops, racist, and we're out there killing people, et cetera. I mean, the statistics that's a horrible event. What happened again to George Floyd? Horrible. Nobody's disputing that. It shouldn't have happened. We all know that. But the statistics don't match the big outcry that we're out there, killing people. Way more cops are killed every year than we, kill of others. And, some are mistakes. I'm not, it's tough to say, but it sucks for my family that, that they're all of a sudden in the limelight of this kind of stuff. And it's,
Are you with I'm guessing school-age children?
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
So, it's is the concern maybe when they go to school, they might have, if kids know what you do for a living, that they might have a hard time with that? Has that crossed your mind a little?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, in the area we live in, the majority of people are respectful of the police and understand the job that we do. So I think it's it's more of a minority. I think it's more just, again, the media's kind of putting out what I think, very small amount of people actually feel. But when you see it, my kids see it on the news every day, and to hear people talking about it, and then it becomes a little more of, you always teach your kids, right? Like you bring your kids to the fair or something, Eric, when they're younger, and you say, if something happens, you get lost, etc., find a police officer, right? You learn to have some trust and faith in police officers to be there to help. And when there's people raising their kids otherwise, I think that's complete misdirection, and it sets up for, a bad relationship between that individual and police officers later on. Again, I can tell you 99% of the time, the interactions we have with people are just great, and they love that we're out there doing the job. And, most of us, it just goes unseen, which is fine. I'm not looking for any notoriety or anything out of it. I just that like right now, cops are really getting beat up in the news. All of them.
What do you think when you see cops take a knee, and would you?
Yeah, so I wouldn't. I think there's a clip of a Georgia trooper, black man, and he answers that like very, like just like a stud. I would not be able to answer it like he did. And he just says to the lady, he says, "Man, I kneel for, I've knelt twice in my life. I kneel for God, and I can kneel to get married." It's in some substance was what he said. So yeah, you don't want to. I think you don't want to. I wouldn't kneel just because it's more of a political statement.
Right, it is. But why? I mean, what does it hurt? And does it not start to think that maybe that simple gesture might extend a bridge between police and the community that is so maligned right now? Doesn't it make sense? I mean, what does it hurt? Is what could possibly go wrong with taking a knee? I guess as you weigh it in your head, is it pride, or is it? I mean, what's going on?
No, I think it depends. So the taking a knee thing might stand for a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I think that's what it comes down to. The Black Lives Matter movement, when it's truly about, okay, Black Lives Matter, minority oppression, racism, etc. Well, sure, of course, everybody stands for that. If it stands for I'm kneeling because I feel that police brutality is a huge issue, and that cops are beating and killing black men, and I just don't.
You don't see it that way.
I don't agree.
All right.
No, I just don't. I don't. So I think that's why I wouldn't. Now, granted, I've been to one of the protests, and I've been right at the front line in the divide between two opposing groups, and I've had great conversations with people standing on the quote-unquote Black Lives Matter movement. I don't know that they were there specifically on that behalf or for that behalf, but they were out protesting, and I said, listen, I stand for your right to be here, and I agree that that you should have every bit of your opinion, and of course, it depends on what they stand for. I guess that's the
right
thing.
Well,
they just stand for that all blacks should have equal rights. Well, of course, who the hell wouldn't stand for that? All white women, all Asian men, whatever. Yeah, of course, we all should have equal rights. And to dispute that's going on, I think that's a whole different. I just think there's a real. It's all got kind of mashed up, and it's a lot of it's turned into this police brutality thing, and the statistics do not support that. They do not support that whatsoever. That has been a systematic problem. It just doesn't support it. Obviously, that occurred. With George Floyd. We know that. But that one event is not. It's just that everything's being put on the news. But if people look up the statistics, it does not support that whatsoever.
Tell you what, Mike, you've answered a lot of tough questions, and you've done pretty well for the first time doing this. And,
all right, well,
even if it was a 10th
I appreciate giving me the time.
No, you did great. And if you need to, hopefully it's opened up a few people's eyes or made them understand a little bit of your perspective. They might feel the same way, but it is important that you called up or reached out and said, "Hey, I'd like to be heard." That's excellent, and I offer anybody that on this podcast. Hell, it wasn't even 24 hours ago that you reached out to me. So here we are, and Well done. Good on you, and thank you. And I hope to be able to talk to you again in the near future.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Eric. We'll talk about funny cop stories next time.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You did great. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you, Mike the Cop. How about that? Yes. Thanks to everybody who sent questions in. Boy, that's a baptism by fire, especially with, would you take a knee? Do you support cops taking a knee? And he says, no, I would not take a knee. And he defended it. He said, this is why. So you got to respect that, right? Good job, Mike the Cop. You didn't let anybody down. At least you didn't let me down. Your thoughts about Mike the Cop, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. How you think he approached it or what his responses were. Even if you listen to this podcast several days after we actually do it live we'll do it live on June 10th. I'd love to hear what you think about that. Okay. Not quite done here. We got more to talk about. TC Paintball, first of all, getting set to announce our next Eric Zane Show podcast, TC Paintball War. We got to come up with a catchy title because, TC Paintball's had to shelve everything since the pandemic. But we're going to get back after it very, very soon. Keep your ears open. You'll hear about it, and we will be playing paintball at TC Paintball. If you'd like to book a party, they're open, ready for business. Reach out to the folks at TC Paintball. You can call 616-249-8227. The kids have been cooped up. They're looking for something fun to do. You want those freaking kids out of your house. Just drop them off and say, go shoot each other. Here you go. Shoot paintballs at each other. All right? TC Paintball, 616-249-8227. They've got a Little League started. It's just a great, great fun thing with Little League. You can book a party for work, team building, whatever it is. TC Paintball, online at tcpaintballgr.com. You can get to the website both ways, either tcpaintball.com or tcpaintballgr.com. But thank you to them for being a longtime sponsor of the Eric Zane Show podcast. Technically, the oldest sponsor I have, because when I started doing the show in 2016 with just my little handheld video camera, and I would record it and then upload my my video, I had a TC Paintball sign behind me. And, of course, Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid, online at irvines.com, the place to go to get your car repaired if you are in West Michigan. You go at Irvine's. Irvines.com, and if you go right to their website, irvines.com, in fact, I want to check it out right now. Let's see here. They have displayed prominently the Google reviews right at top. 264 reviews now, giving you a 5-star average. Garrett is a customer. On June 4th, wrote, excellent service, great communication, honest. Pictures of service are sent to you, which is nice. Your car will be fixed by experts who work on hybrids every day. Judith wrote on May 25th, very satisfied with the work. Although the first day the heater hose came off and it heated up, we got that fixed and now it seems fine. It's an old truck. My husband plowed snow with it, which accounts for many of its issues. We've had it 15 years. It's been a great truck. Thank you so much to Irvine's. And I'm just looking, name after name after name with 5 stars. Jackie gave her a 4-star, Jackie Willis, on May 8th. She wrote, my battery died and my needs were immediate, so that when I called them, I was glad they were able to get me an appointment right away. Very knowledgeable team. Well, why didn't you give them 5? You can't give them a glowing response and then give them 4. The hell? All right. Anyway, they're all there at irvines.com. The best techs, the best staff, the best service. They are absolutely awesome. Call them at 616-202-5538. Okay. Just a side note. This is kind of like a story that's getting a little bit of attention, which I'm surprised. I thought it would get more attention. The cop that killed Floyd, Derek Chauvin, he and Floyd, am I the last guy in America to know about this? They worked at the same nightclub together Floyd was in security at the time, and Chauvin was like a hired gun cop to like patrol the parking lot. And they oftentimes, they didn't like each other. They didn't get along with each other, but they knew each other. What? When I read that headline, I was like, what the hell? I didn't know that, but listen to this.
And as mourners here in Houston honor the life of George Floyd in Minneapolis tonight, CBS News is learning new details about the former police officer charged in his death. A co-worker tells CBS News the two men worked together at a nightclub, and he says they had a history of not getting along. CBS's Jeff Begaze is in Minneapolis tonight with that new reporting. Jeff?
Nora, George Floyd died here, and that's why you still have this massive memorial filling this intersection behind me. And even in the rain, people are coming out to see it. And our reporting today shows that the victim in this case and the officer at the center of the investigation crossed paths in another location too, a nightclub. Tonight, CBS News is learning new information about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin from a man who worked security with both of them at this nightclub in Minneapolis. Co-worker David Penny is breaking his silence, telling us that the two men had a history. What kind of history?
They bumped heads.
How?
It has a lot to do
One head hit the other.
with Derek being extremely aggressive within the club with some of the patrons, which was an issue.
The Floyd family says it believes what happened on May 25th was in part personal. Is there any doubt in your mind that Derek Chauvin knew George Floyd?
No, he knew him.
How well?
He knew him.
We interfaced with officers.
How well did he know him?
I would say pretty well.
Maya
I
Santamaria.
don't know what this guy's problem is. Not the dude being interviewed. The interviewer. It's like, hi, did he know Chauvin? How? Well, they work together. In what way? I don't know. It fucking throw a drunk chick out of the building.
The owner of the now torched club described how Chauvin treated black patrons.
They ended up burning the club to the ground. The protesters lit that place up.
She talked to us for the upcoming CBS News special, Justice for All. Do you think Derek had a problem with black people?
I think he was afraid and intimidated.
By black folks?
Yeah.
As the investigation continues, other cities across the country are considering police reforms. Today, New York
I should ask Mike the cop about this, about reforming the cops.
Governor Andrew Cuomo said that he would support sweeping reform measures in his state, including a ban on police chokeholds.
It's not just a moment to express outrage. It's a moment to do something about it and to make real reform and real change.
Another good question for Mike the cop. Chokeholds. What do you... Yay or chokeholds, yay or nay?
City officials here in Minneapolis are discussing the possibility or dismantling the police department here, but even those who are in support of this idea still don't know exactly what that means at this time.
They don't even have any clue. Oh, everybody's yelling, defund the police, disband them. What do you mean by that? Well, just no cops. Well, no, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean like you suddenly don't have a police force and we can just go and fucking do whatever we want, like when the doors of Arkham Asylum open up and they just wreak havoc on Gotham. Some comic reference there. All right. What's the guy's name? Bubba Wallace, the race car driver. Again, news flash to me that he's black. I discovered that when remember the story about Kyle Larson? Remember the NASCAR driver Kyle Larson, who the idiot who was doing the playing the video game online with all his friends, and actually for the world to see live streaming, and he said the N-word. Oh God! In a show of solidarity, NASCAR should have Bubba Wallace throat punch Kyle Larson. Bubba Wallace has become pretty prominent lately. He's the only black driver in NASCAR. And he's going to have a paint scheme for like Black Lives Matter. Let's take a look at the car. It's, on the hood of the car, it's going to have the white hand with the black hand, okay? Kind of like that scene from frickin' I don't want to reference the movie. That's a bad idea. He drives the number 43 car, legendary number. That's like Richard Petty's old number, isn't it? And it's going to say hashtag Black Lives Matter on the side. The car is all black. It looks great. I think that's a peace sign. It's kind of like a real hippie vibe to it. All right. So Bubba Wallace will drive the number 43 Richard Petty Motorsports Chevrolet. And at the next big race, I think. Yeah, in Martinsville. He says, it's can't wait to be there. It's one of our best tracks and my best racetrack for sure. He's been outspoken during the social unrest that has occurred since the death of George Floyd. On Monday of this week, now this is what I was talking about. This is what's going to drive Kenny cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He wants all Confederate flags banned at racetracks. Wow. Can you imagine if in NASCAR they actually ban Confederate flags? I mean, NASCAR has had they've become they've been started to struggle when it comes to fans prior to pandemic. So, I mean, if you go the route of banning Confederate flags at NASCAR, holy shit. I mean, if NASCAR is really serious about being woke, they might listen to a guy like Bubba Wallace. But if you do that, oh, my God, can you imagine what NASCAR guy is going to do if he can't wave a Confederate flag? Now, you all know how I feel about Confederate flags, and that really upset Kenny yesterday. Let's see. I had – oh, shit. This is a poll about Confederate flags. And a lot of the talk about Confederate flags has to do with heritage or racism. Now, of the 11 Confederate states that are discussed here, they actually asked residents in these polls of each of the Confederate states about what the flag stands for. So, Kenny, these are your people. All right? Yeah, hey, mate, I hate you, Zane. I'm so pissed off right now. I'm steamed. Well, I don't want to draw your ire again. I'm just telling you what your people think. Hillbillies were asked whether the Confederate flag most represents heritage or racism. I'm going to go through all 11. Arkansas hillbillies said 46% of Arkansas hillbillies polled said it represents heritage. 31% said racism. Do you really want to get behind a flag where 31% of the people are saying it represents racism? I want everybody to get behind a flag that 0% say it represents racism. Louisiana, 46 heritage, 35 racism. I don't know if these numbers are percentage points or, I'm pretty sure that that's how they did the study. And then I guess the leftover numbers, the difference or the remaining number of, because you got 46 plus 35, that's what? 70. That's only it's not representative of 100% of the pie. So who knows what the rest of them said. You like how I put that together there? Alabama hillbillies. 39% say it represents heritage. 39% said it represents racism. Now, Kenny, I don't want you to get mad at me here, because again, these are all of your hillbilly brothers and sisters. Florida, same thing. Dead even. 36% say heritage. 36% say racism. I'm going to save Tennessee for last. Mississippi. They made a movie called Mississippi Burning. I mean, this is like the epicenter of like the Klan. In Mississippi, 40% of respondents said it represents heritage. 42% said racism. The Stars and Bars, General Lee on top of the car. This is why Bubba Wallace wants that ban from NASCAR. That'll never happen, by the way. Virginia. Isn't Virginia known as the birthplace of the Confederacy? I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. 33% said heritage. 46% said racism. Georgia, 34% to 40% racism. Texas, 34% to 39% racism. North Carolina, 39 to 43. Racism, 43. South Carolina, 39% heritage, 41% racism. Tennessee. Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills.
Ain't no smog or smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bills.
Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half girl, the other half cat. How's it go? Wild as a sweet as I still dream. Rocky Top,
You'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top.
Woo!
Rocky Top, Tennessee.
40% say heritage. 41% on Rocky Top say it's racist. Kenny, what are you going to do? You got to talk to your people about this. Hey, it's not me. I did not weigh in on the poll. You can't hold it up. You can't hold that against me. I'm the mouthpiece for what is being said there. It's not your fault, Kenny, that you're on the wrong side of this. It's not your fault, Kenny, that most of the clear-thinking people say that that flag is about racism. Bubba Wallace says, get it out of here. All right, I'm going to end with this. I wanted to play this yesterday. I didn't get into it. This is Bubba Wallace on the race in Texas. It was like 125 degrees inside of the car. These guys are all melting. They're getting out of their cars, and they're passing out. Wallace gets out of the car in the race, and he goes down. He passes out. Bad deal. It's like, oh, God, somebody help Bubba. Holy shit. And so he they bring him back, pour some water on him. He's good to go. He's doing an interview with the lady from the national telecast. I don't know what network it is. And she's socially distant from him, and he's seated down, and he's talking about the race. And then this is how it sounded when he passed out.
It was certainly hot indeed, and Bubba, after a few moments, sat up and started laughing and talking.
He's doing okay to start
with this crew. Are you okay? What happened?
I don't even know. Long race, I guess. I stood up.
Let me back up. There's a spot in here where he has brutations, and he starts to speak gibberish. That's his brain clicking off. He doesn't say words. He makes sounds in a conversational manner, and reporter doesn't realize it at the time, and then he just puts his head down, and he's gone. So listen for that. Let me start over.
Hey, what happened?
I don't even know. Long race, I guess. I stood up too fast. Well, I guess I was told I was going to do media, and sat down and stood up too fast, and I got dizzy, got lightheaded, but excuse me, I feel fine now. Quick scare for everybody.
Bubba, the start of this race today was very impactful for many reasons.
Get at it.
That.
What did it mean to you to see everybody come together and recognize and take a moment of listening?
Gone.
You okay? He's not okay.
Yep, I think we're going to allow Bubba to catch his breath here.
Bubba, this was a very impactful point of the race. What happened to you?
It was certainly hot indeed, and
but excuse me, I feel fine now. Quick scare for everybody.
Bubba, the start of this race today was very impactful for many reasons.
Get at it.
What did it mean to you to see everybody come together and recognize and take a moment of listening? You okay? He's not okay.
Oh,
yep, I think we're going to allow Bubba to.
And he didn't topple. He just sat there and his head went down. I'm like, uh-oh, think he's gone. For those keeping track at home, he responded when she started to talk about the seriousness of the start of the race, about representing, acknowledging what's going on in the world. His answer was, get at it. Get at it. Yeah, that's right. Get at it. Get at it. Get at it. He said it like 2 or 3 times. Get at it. Get at it. Get at it. Wow. The brain is weird, man. If you're Bubba Wallace and you watch that later on, you go, hey man, I want to watch that 500 times right when I said get at it. Get at it. Get at it. Like, I don't remember any bit of that. Get at it. Get at it. Oof. Whenever they show video, like when Jackie got operated on her leg, she was still under the anesthesia. She has a whole gigantic conversation with us. Doesn't remember any of it. Get at it. Get at it. All right. Folks, we are out of time on the podcast. Nothing more to talk about. I do have more to talk about, and I did a couple things I didn't get to. I didn't get to the CrossFit dummy. Tough. I think a little bit tougher to defend him now. I think he's done. Might have just stole the thunder on that story, but I'll talk about that on the Patreon. What else did I miss? That's about it. We'll also come up with some more things to talk about. Your questions, comments, concerns, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. If you'd like to advertise on the Eric Zane Show podcast, reach out to me, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. Don't be shy. Don't feel bad if you've only got a handful of dollars to spend. I'll figure something out for you. Don't worry. All right. Thanks again for being part of the Eric Zane Show podcast. Until next time, have a great one. Bye-bye.